What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. Today I have part 55 of the 82-part series, and I'm mad at these refs. They robbed the Knicks last night, and I also got some points on Super Bowl 58 between the Chiefs and the 49ers. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
That ball is out of here! Out of here! Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection.
Getting right into the episode, Knicks lose 105-103 in a game that shouldn't have even been close to this final score. This should have been an overtime game, but Jason Goble needs to be investigated by the NBA. This is not the first time that he's made an egregious call. First off, tell me how this isn't a foul on Dillon Brooks. He's lowering his shoulder into Jalen Brunson. And then you're going to tell me that this last shot by Aaron Nesmith, an absolute chuck, an absolute shot put of a Hail Mary heave in the closing seconds of the game last night. Jason Goble blew the whistle simultaneous to the horn ringing. Jason Goble needs to be investigated. Jason Goble has made two egregious calls in the past year. The first one, this call against LeBron, and when they played the Celtics, it was a no call. LeBron got slapped on the wrist. Patrick Beverley brought out a camera to show there was a foul, and LeBron went irate on the court. And then this second one with Jalen Brunson right here. The worst part about it, the Rockets cover the spread with that game. Someone check Jason Goble's betting accounts. There has to be something fishy going on right now. And the 2-minute L2M confirmed that this was an incorrect call and there shouldn't have been a foul. But even if it was confirmed that it was a foul, why are you blowing the whistle in the final seconds of a game? I don't understand it from any angle that you're looking at it from. This is incredible. And this is a huge game for the Knicks. They've been on a little bit of a slide right now. After winning 9 in a row, they've dropped 4 out of their last 5. Their only win coming against the Memphis Hustle Grizzlies. And I cannot believe how this is happening. This is going to be a huge game when you look down the line for standings. The Knicks are 33-21 now. We were 33-18. That's huge. We were a game out of the 2 seed. Now you look at it. The Knicks are 3 games out of the 2 seed in a week. And it's only been a week. And everybody's been talking about the Knicks' depth. Including myself. We have a ton of depth. But we have so many injuries right now. And now you add Dante into that mix. Dante is questionable for tomorrow's game against the Magic. As soon as the Knicks are looking good, as soon as their roster is getting good, this has to happen. It's tough. But this game isn't about the injuries. This is about the referees. How is Ed Malloy, one of the head officials of the NBA, how is he allowing this to happen under his watch? And I know it was a terrible call. But why is Jalen Brunson jumping at a shot from 35 feet when Aaron Holiday is fading away? And then at the end of the game, when Tom Thibodeau doesn't get his timeout call. It was terrible all the way around. And everybody should have gotten fined in that Knicks locker room last night. Because the refs are not going to be held accountable for this. Yes, they admitted that they made a mistake. But what's going to happen? Are they going to get fined? Are they going to have any backlash? No! They're just going to keep going. Oh, we made a mistake. What's the point of having instant replay if you're not going to use it to fix your mistake? Isn't that the whole point? And I get that Tibbs used his challenge, but there has to be a rule that allows the Knicks to challenge in that spot. Because it was obvious that there was no foul. And how does Ed Malloy again? Why doesn't he change the call on the court? Why is there a rule that doesn't allow Ed Malloy to change a call that one of his partners made? It's terrible. The Knicks got robbed. And it was going to be such a good game going to overtime. The Knicks stormed back from down 16 in the second half. The starters play all 12 minutes of the third quarter. Jalen Brunson has a 22-point second half. And it's ruined because of terrible officiating. This needs to stop. The NBA needs to hold their refs accountable. This can't happen forever. They need to implement a rule that gives the team a challenge in the last 2 minutes, as long as they have a timeout. One timeout in the last 2 minutes, one challenge in the last 2 minutes of a game if you have a timeout. That's what the rule should be. Not in addition to the challenges you already get. Because that, not being able to challenge that, killed the Knicks last night. There's no other way around it. And Tibbs took the high road. He was saying it was great officiating. Blah, blah, blah. He should have went at the refs. Because like I said before, nobody's going to hold them accountable. This is just going to keep happening. And nobody's going to care. Except the fans. Brunson said it too. He got asked 4 separate times about what he thought about the officiating. And each time he said, great call, next question. Why? Brunson, the Knicks fan base will cover you. We'll pay the fine. Get fined. Josh Hart had the best response, and it wasn't even at the stadium. It was on Twitter. And Precious Achiuwa said the same thing. Precious said nasty work. And Josh Hart didn't go off on the refs, but he made a slick comment too. He said something along the lines of what Precious said. Nasty work. This shouldn't have happened. And that's the only way it's gonna happen. That's the only way the NBA is gonna see this. Because they're just gonna let it keep happening otherwise. And LeBron probably saw it. I'm surprised LeBron hasn't put out a tweet talking about going on a rant about how this needs to change. He's done it before, and something has to change. This can't be happening night in and night out. Adam Silver, hold them accountable. Take some of their games away. Take some of their salary away. You have the power to do that. This is your league. You get to run it however you want. And if this game was in New York, Jason Goble would not want to show his face as he walked out of that arena. Because I know Knicks fans would have something to say to him. That was terrible. Absolutely garbage. The Knicks should have been playing in overtime. And if they lose in overtime, so what? I don't think they were losing in overtime anyway. The Knicks had all the momentum down the stretch. And even before, on that play, Alperen Sengun traveled. And even if there was supposed to be a foul, well, the Sengun travel was a couple plays back. But if there should have been a foul on that play, it should have been on Achiuwa's block on Jalen Green. And even still, I would have been mad. But it would have given the Knicks time to come back and make a play to win the game. And Mr. Clutch, Jalen Brunson, Mr. King of New York, Jalen Brunson, I trust him closing out that game with 1.2 seconds left. Rather than Aaron Holiday at the line with 0.3 seconds left. And it brings the question to me, because Dante's getting injured now too. Is Tibbs running these guys into the ground? And I think he has to at this point. Every single game matters, and we're undermanned as it is, so the other guys have to step up and play big minutes. So, to me, he's doing the right thing. And that's just how it's going to be. These guys are going to have to play minutes. They should be conditioned. This is the NBA. We've seen it time and time again with Tibbs, but I mean, he's got to learn. And similar to Kyle Shanahan, if he's gonna never change his ways in the Super Bowl, he'll never win one. I'll get to that on the coming up in about 5 to 10 minutes after I get done talking about this Knicks game. And of course, with this Knicks game, Dillon Brooks goes off. 6 for 7 from 3, 23 points, and he still manages a way to be a negative 11 somehow. I don't understand this plus minus. 2 turnovers, 3 fouls. It should have been 4 on that play where he lowered his shoulder into Brunson, which I mentioned before. 8 for 15 from the field. And I don't know. It's tough. It's a terrible game for the Knicks, and it's going to have playoff implications. The Knicks are going to come up one game short of either the 2 or the 3 seed, and we're going to point back to this game. At least I am, and I hope a lot of other people do too, because this is horrendous. And I don't know how the NBA lets this happen consistently. Because, I mean, it's unacceptable. That's what it is. And it's got to stop now. Other points of the game. Brunson finishes with 27 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Terrible first half, probably the worst first half of the season for this team. And no other way around that. Tibbs got it. Here's another point about the officiating. Dante DiVincenzo right here had a similar play where he kicked his leg out and it was an offensive foul on Dante and they wiped a 3 off the board. Now here's the play on Brunson again. Tell me that is not the same thing that Dante DiVincenzo did where Aaron Holiday kicked his legs out. If you're going to swallow the whistle there, swallow it in the biggest moment of the game. All I want is consistency, and that's all I don't get. That's all the NBA doesn't give us. Consistent refereeing. If you're going to call the game loose, call it loose. I don't care. If you're going to call every little foul, call every little foul. I do not care. As long as you call it all the way through the same way. And that is exactly what doesn't happen. Dante, 41 minutes, 23 points. I love how I'm using minutes as a stat now, because that's what it's come to. There are 4 players averaging 39 plus minutes in the league right now. 3 of them are on the Knicks. And I would have to guess Dante, Josh Hart, and I guess Brunson. He only had 39 minutes in this one. Dante would have played more, but he has that hamstring injury. He was on a minutes restriction. His restriction was 43 minutes, and he asked Tibbs to take him out after 41, which is worrying to me. He's now questionable for the game against Orlando, like I said, and I don't know. We have the All-Star break to get healthy. We're limping towards the All-Star break right now, but if we can get away with a win tomorrow, we should be good. We should be okay. And I think if we can just get through the All-Star break, staying afloat, Robinson will resume on-court activities. Randall's nearing his next step to recovery. Hartenstein's been questionable. I think the week off will get him back to a full strength. OG will be coming back at a similar time to Randall, probably in 2 to 3 more weeks on a minutes restriction, and will make a playoff push from there. We just need to get in, and we just need to be hot at the right time without any injuries. All right, that's going to do it for the Knicks. I'll hit you with the next segment about Super Bowl 58 where the Chiefs beat the Niners.
Running back, first down and goal to go. Play action fake. Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City! McCole Hardman with the catch on the right.
Get into my takes on the Super Bowl. Chiefs win their third in 5 years. They win it by a score of 25-22. And an incredible game. The first 48 minutes of the game, an absolute dud of a Super Bowl. But the last 15 minutes, the last 5 minutes in overtime, legendary. Patrick Mahomes. I call them a dynasty now. I think Mahomes is the third greatest quarterback of all time, only behind Brady and Montana. But for the Niners, how do you not know the rules going into overtime of the biggest games of your career? Like, that's insane to me. How do you not have a meeting prior to the Super Bowl where you explain the new overtime rules to your players and coaches? How are they just learning about the rules while a graphic is showing on the screen in the Jumbotron at Allegiant Stadium? And I mean, for that to happen, that is an all-time choking moment in Super Bowl history. Kyle Shanahan, just like I talked about with Tom Thibodeau earlier, needs to change his ways or he'll never win a ring. And we've seen it here. McCole Hardman, the former Jet, scores the game-winning touchdown in overtime. And it's because the Niners didn't defer the coin toss because they didn't know the new overtime rules. The 49ers definitely had a chance to win this game. And if I'm Kyle Shanahan and I know the Chiefs have a chance, which he might have known, he might not have known, we'll never know. Why are you not going for it on 4th and 4? You know the Chiefs are going to be aggressive. You know they're going to get into the end zone no matter what. And even if they do get into the end zone, they were going for 2. And I don't think the Niners were stopping them. Incredible from Patrick Mahomes down the stretch of that game. Not as crazy as last year, carrying his team on his back with a broken ankle. But I think this Super Bowl is much more impressive than the 2 prior Super Bowls, just because of the young receiving core. The Marquez Valdez-Scantling drop, all the young talent on this team and the wide receivers that can't catch a pass. The Chiefs led the league in drop passes this year, and they still managed a way to do it. And that's greatness from Patrick Mahomes, and that's greatness from Travis Kelce, who almost knocked Andy Reid over on the sideline after Travis Kelce was taken out of the game prior to the Isaiah Pacheco fumble. He was telling Andy Reid that he would have had that block and Pacheco wouldn't have fumbled on that play in the second quarter after the first big McCole Hardman catch of the night that didn't turn into anything for the Kansas City Chiefs. But in my opinion, I think a lot of other people's opinions, the play that turned the tide was the muff punt. The ball hit off of the foot of Darrell Lutter Jr. and Ray McCloud tried to jump on it, but it was too late as the Chiefs had already had the ball. They scooped up the ball, and everybody was saying, leave it, and then it hit off Lutter's foot, and McCloud had to go after it, and it looked as if McCloud touched it by accident, and he didn't, and it was a really bad play for McCloud, but it wasn't, and it wasn't his fault that they didn't get the ball, and Andy Reid called a great play out of it, going straight to the end zone, getting those 6 points, and finally breaking through and getting on the scoreboard via a touchdown. And it was looking like for some of this game, Harrison Butker or Jake Moody was going to win Super Bowl MVP. A combined 7 field goals were made in this game, and 7 were attempted. including breaking the Super Bowl record for the longest field goal in Super Bowl history, not once but twice. First in the second quarter by Jake Moody, who hit from 55 yards, and then again in the third quarter by Harrison Butker, who hit from 57 yards, which is incredible. I get that it's in a Superdome, but you're kicking the ball over 150 feet in the air, which is pretty insane to me. But McCaffrey had a really big game, 160 all-purpose yards, 80 on the ground, 80 through the air. Led the Niners in passing and receiving yards. Caught the touchdown on the Juwan Jennings trick play. Juwan Jennings also caught a touchdown. Joins Nick Foles as the only players in Super Bowl history to throw and catch a touchdown in the same game. He threw the one touchdown pass on the trick play to CMC, and he also caught a touchdown in the fourth quarter on the play where the Chiefs blocked the extra point, which is absolutely huge because this game doesn't go to overtime, and we don't have this conversation about Kyle Shanahan not knowing the overtime rules. If that kick doesn't get blocked, the 49ers win this game by 1 point. So it would be 22-21, which that would be fun down the stretch to watch as well. And we all know that the Chiefs would have obviously tried a Hail Mary and tried to get into the end zone instead of kicking that field goal. But that's how it turned out. The Chiefs defense stood tall, and I thought it was going to be a shootout going into the game, and then it was just not a high-scoring game. And that was kind of fun to watch because you don't see that every Super Bowl. The last time it was a low-scoring one was 2019 Rams Patriots 13-3. Patriots win. Tom Brady gets his last ring in New England, his sixth. And Patrick Mahomes after the game says the goal has always been to get 7 and to tie Tom Brady's record for the most Super Bowls wins of all time. Mecole Hardman traded from the Jets halfway through the season at the trade deadline, and then gets the game ball and catches the game-winning pass that you saw as we transition to this segment. And Mecole Hardman was a Chief. He left the Chiefs to come to sign with the Jets in free agency this offseason. Goes back there, gets his second Super Bowl win against the 49ers, and does it in dramatic fashion. And again, he didn't know the overtime rules, which surprises me because this rule was centered around the Chiefs and how they got the ball first in overtime against the Bills, went down and scored a touchdown, and the game was over. The Bills didn't have a chance to rebuttal, and I don't know. I don't know. That's a problem to me. You can't not know the rules going into the Super Bowl. Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl. Incredible to me. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Valiant, and this was the Sports Pod.